Well, the first place we stopped on the tour was the geologic time chart. They have it lit up, and it's behind glass, and it's holy and sacred. Don't dare touch that thing, you know. So we're standing over there, and the guide said, now, folks, this layer of rock right here is about 70 million years old. And it's so cool, because they always get that sanctimonious tone in their voice, you know. 70 million years old. Oh. Well, my daughter was 12 years old at the time. She raised her hand. She said, Mister, how do you know that layer is 70 million years old? He said, honey, that's a good question. We tell the age of the layers by what types of fossils we find in them. They're called index fossils. And by the way, that's correct. That's what the textbook says. Scientists use index fossils to determine the age of rock layers. She said, thank you, sir. We walked around the other side. We're standing over here, and the guide said, now, folks, these bones are about 100 million years old. My daughter raised her hand again. She said, sir, how do you know those bones are 100 million years old? He said, well, honey, we tell the age of the bones by which layer they came from. She said, sir, when we were standing over there, you told me you knew the age of the layers by the bones, and now you're telling me you know the age of the bones by the layers. She said, isn't that circular reasoning?
Yo, baby, yo, baby, yo, baby, yo, baby, yo!
Live science says of Darwinian evolution, it can turn dinosaurs into birds, apes into humans, and amphibious mammals into whales.
It can even turn Michael Jackson into a werewolf.
It's my life's work.
And the same has been said of Michael J. Fox in his teens as a wolf.
It's my life's work.
Poor Richard Dawkins. He almost reminds me of Sisyphus. Here we have another skeptic.
Checks out.
So far, it checks out, except that Moses himself, there's no evidence for him being a historical figure, like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, all of that.
Is it possible that the Sumerians, a civilization established in 4000 BC and located nearly 8,000 miles away, could be connected to the early inhabitants of Tiwanaku? If so, how? Ancient astronaut theorists believe the answer can be found at the Precious Metals Museum in La Paz, Bolivia.
This is perhaps one of the most important archaeological artifacts ever discovered at Tiwanaku or Pumapunku. This is the famous Fuente Magna bowl discovered near Tiwanaku. It's a ceramic bowl, and it has written on it Sumerian cuneiform plus Proto-Sumerian hieroglyphic script. This script is coming from circa 3000 BC. It draws a direct connection between the ancient Sumerians and Tiwanaku and Pumapunku.
Discovered near Lake Titicaca by a local farmer in the 1950s.
The Sumerians were the ones who invented the cuneiform writing system. The word cuneiform means wedge-shaped. It refers to a system of writing whereby scribes would take a wedge-shaped stylus and impress signs on wet clay tablets. Those tablets could later be fired and hardened and preserve what was ever written on them.
Deciphering these cuneiform tablets was next to impossible until a key discovery of thousands of tablets at an Assyrian palace in March of 1843. This new abundance of cuneiform inscriptions provided some of the first tangible evidence of an ancient kingdom that had been believed to exist thousands of years ago.
A French scientist named Paul-Émile Botta found this gigantic underground area in northern Iraq in Khorsabad, opened up this incredible room filled with statues of gods and kings, all kinds of wonderful treasures, and many written inscriptions all over the walls in the ancient Sumerian cuneiform.
Within 10 years, archaeologists had also discovered the ruins of the legendary Sumerian capital city of Ur, home of the biblical figure Abraham. At the site, scientists unearthed the Great Ziggurat of Ur, a step pyramid-shaped structure that was the administrative center of the city, as well as cuneiform tablets and tombs adorned in gold.
So here they had found this legendary capital of the Sumerians with its gold-clad tombs and cuneiform tablets, something that they thought was simply a myth until the actual discovery of it, proving that it was indeed historical fact.
When we look at the ancient Sumerian civilization, we attribute them with over 100 of the firsts for a modern society. Things like agriculture, science, medicine, mathematics, kingship, laws, courts, judges, schools. Literally all of this shows up in Sumerian times 6,000 years ago, right out of the Stone Age.
The Middle East. For centuries, archaeologists, theologians, and scholars have debated the location and even the existence of the ultimate of all lost worlds, the biblical Garden of Eden. It was here, according to the Hebrew book of Genesis, that a paradise once existed. A paradise where the first human beings, Adam and Eve, were actually created by God. But could such a paradise, now shrouded in myth and legend, have actually been a real place?
When we're looking at the Garden of Eden, we know that actually there is a physical description as to where it was. So it is said that 4 very specific rivers came from it or were near it. So we can actually go in search of this.
2 of these rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, are well known and actually run through what is Iraq today. The other 2 rivers that are described are not very clear.
Researchers now believe the 3rd river, known as the Karun River, runs through Iran and joins the Euphrates just north of the Persian Gulf. Then, in 2010, satellite imagery revealed a fossil river, or dry riverbed, called the Wadi Batin, that once flowed through northern Arabia and also joined with the Euphrates. Could these 2 rivers have been the location of the Pishon and Gihon rivers, the lost rivers mentioned in the Bible that point to the actual location of the Garden of Eden?
When you read the account in Genesis, it says that the 4 rivers formed one river. So very careful reading indicates that the 2 rivers which are today in Iraq, the Tigris and Euphrates, and the one river which is in Iran, the Karun, and the fossil river in Arabia, when you join them up and form one river, it's at the approximate location of northern Persian Gulf.
And according to the Bible, that one river flowed through the Garden of Eden.